fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? Oh, this is kind of a wide shot. You can see all my shit. Let me narrow in. Okay, now though, let me put my camera up. Sorry, I didn't organize this. I was just on another show. I don't want to show, but you can see my mic. No, I don't like that. Oh my God, I'm such a mess. I should have did this beforehand. Live streaming life. There we go. I think that's okay, right? I don't need this. Ooh, my hair is all messy. All right. We're good to go. We're good to go with the messy hair. Okay, this is just going, and how do you like Mr. Rooster? I just love this. I was at the grocery store. This is just a really like weird update show. So I was at King Soopers, I think it was, and I saw this pink rooster, and I'm like, it was 20 bucks though. I'm like, I gotta buy it. And Wayne's like, no, it'll be on clearance. I'm like, no. This is too cool, and it's true. But one of its little spikies broke off when I was moving it around. I got to glue it back on. But I love my rooster. It's a Decoloris thing from Via de Cristo. It made me fall. Oh, that was Wayne. I'm like, what was that noise? I'm in the basement, so I can hear everything walking upstairs. Okay, everyone. Y'all got to let me know if the sound is good, the view is good, and now let's talk. Oh, I need to do my grifting. I'm supposed to be a fucking grifter. Ups, you're not supposed to drop the F-bomb within the first few minutes or YouTube will demonetize you. So I guess I lost that grifting opportunity. Super chats are welcome because I will not get ads. All right, my Patreon. There it is. At the beginning of each month, it seems there's a natural attrition because people's financial situations change. For the amount that I lost, I'm $5 a month away from being to where I was at the beginning of the month. if you could make up that shortfall, I'd super appreciate it. Again, nobody can support forever, and I appreciate my patrons for the amount of time they can. And I've got the private Discord server set up. So all patrons, no matter what level, you get access to the private Discord server where I have more personal and intimate discussions, since people have been weaponizing my social media posts, people who aren't my friends, because I try to talk to my friends about my life. I'm very open like that. I have no filter, and that has harmed me. So I'm going to be doing all that more with a closer circle of friends on my Discord server, and we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it's going to evolve into a lot of different things. And thank you, Ryan, for confirming the AV is good for you. Speaking of AV, I'm using a webcam right now. Actually, it's a really good webcam. I usually use my iPhone, believe it or not. That's mostly the camera I use. The iPhone camera, if you guys, anyone's considering starting a YouTube channel, you do not need some big expensive camera. But I smashed my iPhone by accident at the End the Damn Wars rally on Saturday. So I need to get a new one. Actually, it's a long story. I don't want to give you all the middle stuff. The ultimate end of this story is a new iPhone 13 is coming out on Friday, and that's what I'm going to be getting. So I'll be recording on my webcam for a while, but it's supposed to have some really good camera features, so I'm like looking forward to seeing what it can do. And if you remember that story where I had that wireless mic thing and I called the company because I was missing a part and they knew who I was, that's never happened to me before. You know, he's like, okay, I'll ship you the part. What's your name? I said my name, and then there was this pause. If you didn't hear the story, there was this pause. And he's like, I know you. And he goes, I'm so sorry what's happening to you. You know what? I need to actually do an episode on how far and wide the LNC action against me has gone. Like, it's crossed the globe. Old friends, like, no, I'm just going to save that story. You know what? Why not now? This is an update thing, isn't it? Okay. I'll go into this a bit more. This USB camera, though, this webcam sometimes does that weird focus thing. If you see, my iPhone doesn't do that. And Edward is right. You can get started doing YouTube very, very cheap. Thank you so much, Mr. Green. I totally appreciate the super chat. And yeah, I'm dewless right now. I just finished drinking some dew and I had to throw it out. I was on tonight a 2-hour episode, unlike any episode I've ever done before. Go check it out. It's live now. Daniel 3 Biblical Anarchy channel. We got into religion and anarchy and pacifism. We only talked about the LNC a little bit. If you're into like a mix of, I hate saying a mix of politics and religion because that's kind of gross, but it's more philosophical. You'll really enjoy this episode. It's so different from anything I did. So go over there. It just went live. You'll tell because I'm wearing all this. I immediately started this episode. But what has surprised me with what has happened on the LNC, and that's Wayne doing dishes. If you hear water upstairs, who was it? Justin O'Donnell said to me, can you hear that water? Can you hear that? I feel like taking a broomstick and going, Wayne, turn off the water. I don't know if he heard me. I want to know if you guys can hear that water, because to me it sounds like a huge, I think it's turning off now, waterfall that's going on. And I forgot what I was going to say because I'm so... Okay, it stopped. Oh my God, my ADHD. Where was I at? Oh, how far my story has got. Okay, so Justin O'Donnell said to me that the LNC really just doesn't know what it's doing, that, you know, you can suspend some people under the radar, but big, larger than life personalities, particularly YouTube personalities, you cannot. There's no way to keep that under wraps, and you end up creating a blowback, a very large blowback if it's a person that a lot of people like, or even a person that a lot of people hate. And I have the type of personality, you love me or you hate me. I make people feel something, and I'm proud of that. Most of my haters don't know me. They've never had a conversation with me. This image of me they've created in their mind, I don't recognize. And if I met that person they created, I wouldn't like that person either. I don't know what it is about people that they have to have demons. I prefer to think there are no angels or demons. Everybody's a little bit of both. Okay? The haters that get to know me generally will say, I don't agree with her, but I do believe she always believes she's acting with integrity and fairness. And that's all you can ask of your opponents that actually know you. Most of my opponents don't know me. They don't know a thing about me. I mean, listen, if you're going to hate me, at least come by it honestly. You know, there's probably plenty to hate. I'm not saying if only you knew me, you wouldn't hate me. No, you might still hate me, but at least you'd hate me for good cause rather than some weird abstract thing you created in your head. So I'm tying this to what Justin O'Donnell had said was Karen Ann Harlos was a very good secretary, but she's an even better martyr. And that's exactly what's happening. You know, Susan Hogarth said this completely out of touch statement that I'll be going into in an episode I'm dedicating to her, but I'm writing out a script because I'm going to be very, very careful, where she was just like, oh, nobody pays attention to this stuff. There's not going to be any blowback. Lady, I'll make sure people pay attention because I have a platform. You can't hide something when somebody has a platform. That's one of the beautiful things about the internet. Okay. But more than that, I've become a flashpoint, and I'm willing to do that. It's very painful, but if it's going to improve the LP, I'm willing to go through that valley, okay? And when I say valley, let me be brutally honest with you right now. Are you my friends? Can I be brutally honest with you? This was hard. This suspension is hard. Most people will never go through anything like this. I'm not trying to say it's like as hard as losing a child or anything like that. But I'm talking about for your ego or for your morale. I don't even know the right word. But I've just been publicly humiliated in front of the whole country. Like everyone, there's people in every state of this country that knows what happened to me. Most people will never go through a shaming on that level. And I can't describe, it's difficult. You know, it's one thing when it, something happens more locally, but to be publicly suspended from a national office like this was cruel. I didn't deserve it, for one thing. If I deserved it, it would be like if I stole from the party. Or if I did what Joe Bishop Henchman did. They've never even censured him, but they threw me off. Corrupt. Just corrupt. But it's small consolation to me that my cause was righteous. It's small consolation to me that my suspension was unjust. I've still been publicly humiliated in front of the whole country, and very few people will go through that. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's hard to keep up my spirits. And I'm just asking you to relate to that on a human level. That shouldn't be too hard to relate to what I'm going through. And some of my coping mechanisms might not be the best, but I think I'm handling this pretty well, considering how devastated I was the first suspension motion. I obviously got help after that. You know, that was mentally devastating to me, but I think I'm holding together pretty well, considering, yeah, I've just been, there's not a state in this country without a person that knows what happened to me. And just imagine how that feels. And actually expand it out. I'm getting letters and comments from people all over the world. We're not, as a party, as insignificant as we think we are. I'm a topic of discussion in areas I never thought. And I'm being brought up a lot in the Republican Party. Shame on the LP, because the Republican Party people who are bringing me up are right. They're like, ha, those libertarians, they had a whistleblower and they punished her, and she's a damn good parliamentarian. I've seen the screenshots. That's what people in the Republican Party are saying. Good job, LP. Because they're right. But here's the weirdest thing. friends that I haven't heard from in years that aren't even libertarians, that haven't followed me. Like, we not had a breakup or anything like that. It's just, you grow apart. People have their lives, whatever. You're not in touch. And all of a sudden, these people have heard of this and are getting in touch with me and are proud of me. Like, I have, old friends and complete strangers who say, you're heroic. I don't have any strangers coming to me and going, ha, they did right. You guys, you 11, are shaming the party worldwide. Don't think that this is just something you voted on September 6th and you can wash your hands like Judas. You just caused an earthquake or a spark. And I hope to fan it into an inferno, not to harm the party, to purify it, to get rid of corruption and have the Reno reset. This party is at a crossroads. We are fighting for the soul of the party. I'm absolutely convinced of it. And if I have to be used and abused and beat up and chewed up for that, I will do it. Because everyone knows I love this party. Anyone who doubts that is lying to themselves. Now, they may think my vision is wrong, but no one can doubt that I've poured my life into this. And in a very real sense, I just took a political bullet for this party. Most people would not do it. And very few people, even if they would, have the opportunity or in the right place at the right time. Or some people might think it was the wrong place at the right, whatever it might be. But if you don't think that I'm paying a heavy price, you haven't thought about it. A lot of people, I'm tired of the drama. In some ways, God, I'm really getting real with you tonight. In some ways, I feel like I'm being discarded because people's attention span is very small. And they were all a lot of people that were like, we will never let this happen and we will have her back on June 18th when the first suspension motion happened. They're nowhere to be found now that it's happened. Nowhere to be found. Or they go, tired of the drama. I don't want to hear it anymore. You know what? I wish I could say that, but I have to live this. And just think of how belittling it is when you say that. I'm still going through it, and I'm a human being. I do feel discarded by some sections, but I'm also so supported by others. So I'm not, please, I'm not ungrateful for those of you who are still on top of it. But it's like I said to so many people, how many people are going to remember this come Reno? We're 20 dramas away from Reno. I hope they remember. We need the Reno reset. But there has been some great disappointment of people like, oh, I'll have your back forever on June 18th. And nowhere to be found now. But some people have been lions. Lannister lions. Well, I shouldn't say that because didn't the Lannisters, weren't they the bad guys? I'm just trying to bring in my Game of Thrones imagery. So let's go to the Office Depot story, shall we? So that was just a bit of humanizing what I'm going through. Why it's been difficult to sleep and concentrate and all of that. I have post-traumatic stress disorder just reading my emails. Everything happens through email, like that reading Epke's motion to suspend. So now I dread opening my emails. I just dread it. I have an existential dread every time I have to open my emails. And it's not pleasant. I hope I get over that. Because, yeah. But Office Depot. I don't want to show the image because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube too. So there's a great image that has a swastika on one side and it says, oh shit, what was the year? 1942-ish of the Second World War. So it had a swastika on that side. And then it had the image of the swastika made of needles on this side, and it said 2021. And it was such a powerful image. Obviously not promoting Nazis, right? Context is everything. Facebook doesn't understand it, and apparently Office Depot doesn't either. So I sent that sign in. You know what? Am I going to get in trouble if I show you the sign? Should I do it? I'm going to do it. Let me pull it up. Because, like, I loved it. I, like, thought it was so good. And I'm going to show you some of my other signs, since this is just a casual video, because I spent so long on the interview tonight, but I was so happy with, I got to pull up I got too many Gmail accounts. I might not be able to do this because I don't know if I can sign into my secretary at LP Colorado email right now, because I think I don't have the password here. So secretary at lpcolorado.org. Okay, next. Hopefully there's no triggering emails in here. Okay. Okay, now I'm in the Gmail. I'm in the folder. I need to pull up my secretary folder, graphics, and then I'll share this with you. Okay, I'll show you all my signs, because I love signs. There's nothing I like more than standing on the corner with a sign. Okay, here I am. Here's my sign. So you can see, let me pull this one. This is the one they wouldn't print. I think that is frickin' powerful. So now I said 1942, so 1941. So they wouldn't print it. I need to find somewhere here. Please, YouTube, don't censor this. I'm not a Nazi. I'm anti-Nazi. That's the purpose of this sign. But I also brought them this one, but because it was in one order, they said I had to set this one separate. So my rights are not dependent on your lack of fear. But I have a bunch of really good signs in here. Yeah, this one they printed. Grandma, the death panel will see you now. I love that one. We used that one at a protest. Let me see if there's any other. I love this sign. Taxes are revolting. Why aren't you? Anyone want these graphics? Any of them, I'll send them to you. No point in you reinventing the wheel. And I like this one. Stealing is wrong, even if it's for good things you want. So, yeah. Oh, this is the one I carried at that Medicare for All. Nothing is a right that forces others to do something for you. So all of these are sized to be printed like on yard signs. They're basically yard signs. Did I spell it wrong? I'll fix it, Mike. Thank you for, I haven't printed that out, so I'm glad you caught that. Okay. So yeah, that's just my little sign collection. I'm always making new ones, but yep, it was this one that Office Depot wouldn't print. I got to deal with non-corporations, I guess, next time I have a controversial sign. But I loved it. You know, maybe I need to find some local printer, because otherwise I'm envisioning myself getting a blank, because now I'm stubborn. I want this sign. Getting a blank thing and just coloring it. So when I was there, those girls who work there are women. I call everyone girls. It's not meant to be derogatory. They know me. I'm always printing protest signs there. So they felt really bad. So I told them, listen, I'm going to put Office Depot on blast, but I'm not going to say which one. It's not your fault. I understand it's a corporate policy. Like, they couldn't do anything about it. They thought the sign was good, I think. They're very hesitant to say they agree with politics. But they did nod, you know, when I said, you guys know I'm not a Nazi, you know, they understood. They know I'm a libertarian. They know I'm, you know, even left-leaning. So they got it. But so that was fun. But now I have another update. You guys may remember when we were talking about crap. It was on a bonus history episode. There was an article we read which talked about, in libertarian jurisprudence, if, you know, somebody bought a stolen item, a piece of stolen property, who takes the loss when it's discovered? Does the person who in good faith bought stolen property have to suffer the loss when they have to give it back to the original owner, or does the original owner suffer the loss because the buyer was innocent and they were actually just another victim of the thief? And I had questioned which scenario is right. I know the very common libertarian answer is, yeah, Ryan, but I did get an answer from Walter Block that I kept forgetting to let you guys know. I'm glad you remember this discussion. I was like, I don't know what was right. And I started getting into Walter Block's negative homesteading, which I need to do a whole show on because it's so fascinating. And his idea that you can't transfer your misery. So the original misery was on the guy who originally owned it. A good faith buyer bought it. Why should that guy have to suffer loss? Isn't that the owner transferring their misery? And Walter said he didn't, listen, Walter's so generous with his time. I'm not disappointed. At this point, I am disappointed, but I'm not angry or like, oh my God, I can't believe. He just told me he didn't have time to deal with this. And that's the first time he's ever said that. And I'm not saying that like he was trying to avoid it. I actually just think he was busy. So I want to let you know, I want to put up his email so you guys can see what he said. This might be a little small though, but I'll read it to you. And I don't need to disguise his email address. It's public. That's how I started writing him. All right, so his email, I wrote him, I said, I have a small YouTube channel where I tackle libertarian philosophy, and in reading an article on libertarian jurisprudence, the author raised the question of a good faith buyer of a stolen horse. Who gets stuck, the original owner or the good faith buyer when it is discovered? Would transfer of misery mean it is the original owner who gets stuck? Or do we follow Rothbard's title transfer theory of ownership here, in which the thief had no valid title to transfer? I think good arguments can be made for either. Thoughts? And he wrote me back almost immediately. You could see I wrote him on the 19th at 10:34, and he wrote me within 3 hours. Okay? He is a fantastic person. And he said, Dear Karen, he doesn't know I go by Karen Ann. We've never met in person. A is the rightful owner. B steals his horse. B sells A's horse to C, the good faith buyer. I'm on A's side, vis-a-vis C. So he disagrees with the argument I made. And then he goes on, which I talked about in the in that show, about human shields. But I don't think he knew I already knew his argument. So he says it here, which I'm going to go over again. But I think this actually bears out my argument that it's the original owner who gets stuck. So he said, A grabs B, hides behind B's back, uses him as a shield, and aims to shoot C. For some reason, B can't turn around and shoot the bad guy. A. All have guns. The only way C can shoot A is through the body of B. May B shoot C or C shoot B. I'm on C's side here. And I am as well, because the human shield is the owner of that misery. C doesn't have to sacrifice himself because that person did that. We can get into that more on a special episode, but I think this supports my argument. I wish Walter Block had given me his human shield argument and then actually explicated, or man, I'm slipping on my tongue today. Explicated, yeah, that's the right word, as to why he thinks that supports the original horse owner getting the horse back. And he gave an argument about negative homesteading, which I think we will cover one day. And then I wrote him back. Hello from Indiana, Rice, and hello, H. Reardon. To Walter, I said, I agree with you on the human shield issue, but wouldn't this be more akin to the example you gave of someone about to be hit by lightning and diverting it to someone else? A already suffered the loss of the horse. C is a victim of B. Why should A be able to divert his loss to C, who did nothing wrong? This is where I'm having issues. And of course, in this scenario, we are assuming there was nothing in the sale that should have made C suspicious. And then he said he's too busy with writing obligations. And I don't, listen, Walter Block has once engaged in so many email conversations with me. I legitimately do believe he's busy. And then I said, no problem, you have been more than overly generous with your time. But I had promised you guys I would write him and tell you what he said. And I don't really want to get too much back into that because I do a special show, but let me just put up Michael Kilpack's comment. There's a moral hazard to forcing people to give back stolen stuff to previous owners. Owners of property would be way less careful about securing their crap. Not a good faith to tread down. I'm not a consequentialist. So consequentialist arguments are very persuasive to some people. They are not to me. I am a hard deontologist. So I understand Rothbard's argument too, that you can't give away something you didn't own because you didn't hold valid title to it. But there's good arguments on both sides. I don't really know where I land. I think I could argue both. What I think I need to do when I have time to think about it is think about the implications for other situations and how they would roll out. And I guess I am being a little bit of a consequentialist, but I'm more thinking the deontological implications. And I think that's how we'll find the answer when we do the ripples. And I just haven't had the time. I really have to like sit down and like just philosophize in my head, you know, go into like an autistic fugue state, you know, and I just haven't had the time to do that because I'm in autistic fugue states about the LNC right now. So that was did I say that? That was the other update. That was. And did I have anything else to cover? You guys are gonna have to remind me. What did I put in the title of this thing? I said Office Depot, which I really wasn't surprised, to be honest with you. And quick personal update. Is that all I said? And I think I covered everything I needed to. I want you guys to go watch that show and comment there and subscribe to his channel. He's one of my $25 a month sponsors where, you know, if you guys got a show and you want me to promote it, if I like it, because I will not ever dishonestly promote something, but if you're one of my friends, I'm sure I'll like it. My $25 a month sponsors get regular shout outs on here of their products. It doesn't have to be a show. It can also be like a book, which this is great for your children. And I honestly, again, I'd never promote something I really don't like. I'm not for sale. Not for sale. I'm a bad grifter. The show is, it's called, let me see if I can put it up on the screen here. Let me do text. 1 second. Let me just put this up here because I really want you guys to support his show. Let's add this. Daniel 3, Biblical Anarchy. So I'm just going to stick that up there. That's the show. Just search on, that's not the name of the episode. That's the name of the channel. So search for that channel. My interview's live now. It's a couple hours. I think it's fantastic. I had so much fun. It's so different from anything I've ever done before. So you won't hear the same LNC crap. I talk about some of it for a little while, but I guarantee you it's just a little while. It's up there. And then, of course, we have Sean Dempsey's The Tale of Two Brothers that you can get on Amazon, or you go to tale2brothers.com. I love this book. Oh, my God. I love these illustrations. Look at the... Whoops. Sorry, my mic. I don't know. I love it. Okay, I think that's it. I do not know. Of course, you know, always in the low bar is other ways you can support me. There is my Amazon wish list, and there is stuff from all price points on there if you want to improve the show. Everything that's on the Amazon wish list has applications to my studio. It's not like I'm not putting on the wish list like a blender for the kitchen. It's all studio equipment or books that will give me material for the show. I need to add some more books because that's very much within other people's reach. But there's something from all price points on there. And most of it is gear for the studio or props for the studio. And I guess that's it for the night. I'm just trying to make sure if you guys have anything... thank you, Terentia. If you guys have anything that you want to chat about, I'll just hang out for a little bit. I'm getting a little dry. I don't have my Mountain Dew with me. Or if you want to give me a super chat because I'm a grifter and I don't have a job right now. I did have a job interview. on Monday, and I I thought it went well. We'll see. What happens generally when an Office Depot gift card, I'd use it. H. Reardon says I would absolutely use it. I print a lot of signs there. And the only one I ever had problems with is the Nazi one. And one reason why I really like Office Depot for signs, they're not the cheapest, but I tend to like delay. Like I'm a procrastinator and I need them now. And they print them same day. Oh, the LP Massachusetts. We'll talk about that. I don't know a lot about it. So let me preface my comments with saying I'm speaking somewhat in ignorance. I do have a little more freedom to talk now because I don't know what I am. Like, am I still the secretary, but like pending suspension? That's what JJ said. The LNC doesn't consider me the secretary at all. I don't have access to emails anymore. And I had emails in there I needed to respond to. They cut me off immediately. I don't think that's right. I think I should still have access to my secretary emails. I think I should still be allowed to respond to the pending ones that were in my box. But they didn't even ask me. They were just rude. They didn't even tell me. Like the way they just treated me in this whole thing is like a piece of shit. Just awful. Like they need new policies. Whitney, you did not handle this properly. I'm sorry. And I like you, okay? But I have more freedom, at least by their view, because if I'm just a member, I can say whatever I want, I suppose. I'm willing to be corrected on what's going on in Massachusetts. This is my understanding so far, is there is a guy who liked some tweets that the chair of the LP Massachusetts thought were inappropriate for him to like. He's not a board member, as far as I know. I think he might be a volunteer or just a private member. But this is all about liking and retweeting, I think, certain tweets on his personal account. This is ridiculous. This is directly a result of what the LNC did to me. You might be witch hunted next. But from what I understand that's going on, and again, the chair or anyone else, please correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not mentioning names here. I'm just giving an outline. You all can look up who the chair is, whoever's involved. I'm not interested in blasting somebody because I don't know for sure all the details. But from what I understand, they've decided that they can expel members from the party without even telling them that they're doing it and do it by a ballot in executive session with no due process. Thank you, LNC. See what you're doing to other people? I said when I was doing my appeal, I was really tired. Again, getting publicly embarrassed in front of the whole country is tiring. You want to just bury your head in the sand. Hold on. So, I almost wasn't going to appeal. But I stepped back and said, this isn't really about you. It is about you. I want my position back. I earned it. I earned it. You 11 purgers. I earned it. You didn't. I'm getting mad again. But it's larger than me. This due process issue, if it's upheld, is going to have nightmare ripple effects in this party. Massachusetts is already a ripple effect. Because let me tell you, having secret trials like that, or not even trials, secret purges, honestly, is grounds for disaffiliation. Anyone in Massachusetts leadership, please don't go down that road. Nobody wants to disaffiliate anybody, but that is grounds for national disaffiliation. National, though, right now couldn't do that because they'd be flaming hypocrites. Because even though they didn't do it by ballot in secret session, they tried to do it by email ballot, and they didn't give an officer a trial. So it's larger than me. Also, the NAP thing, where they said I violated the NAP by mean words. I know Susan tried to qualify it, but we're going to deal with Susan. We're going to deal with these hypocrites who are now punching down because they consider me just a member. I already bitch slapped Richard. Now it's time to bitch slap Susan. Because they purged me And now they just can't leave it alone. They got to just go after me on social media when all of them said LNC members shouldn't go after regular members, and they consider me a regular member right now. Hypocrites. Not all of them. That's why I'm only going after a few. The ones who did it. Because they just think they are untouchable. Punching down. Well, you want to know what? I got a good uppercut. Oh, thank you. I get so touched, isn't it? I know, like, I'm such a brand new, I'm just like such a virgin YouTuber that each time I get a super chat, I'm still like, woo! Thank you, Tarantisha. And let me stick this up here and answer your question. And Ryan, I'll answer yours as well, because I really appreciate your feedback. So Tarrant, I could pronounce it wrong. I'm sorry. T. Any plans to write another book? Yes. I always have books in me. They take me a very long time to write, but let me tell you how I operate. Ooh, that was some weird autofocus. I can't even do a show till I come up with a title unless it's something scattered like this. When I wrote my book that I have on Matthew 24, I couldn't write it till I had a title. Because to me, that's like the unifying theme. And I don't yet have a unifying theme for another book, but it will be about actually, I have 2 books in me about the Libertarian Party. One will be about history, and I think I have a title. And then that will help me. But it took me a decade to write It's Not the End of the World. So I think I have a title for the first one, which will be really just hardcore ideology of the party. The second one is going to be about my political experiences. And that one is going to be a lot of tea. Because I've been on the LNC for quite some time. There's been things that have gone on before this with different people, okay? So, yeah, I do have a couple books in me. So now let me... I think you are a bit harsh on that one Facebook post of hers. I don't think so, but I will defend that. I'm going to do a whole show on it. I don't think I'm being harsh on that one Facebook post of hers. If we're talking about the one where she's trying to walk back her vote a bit, I think it was you who said, why didn't you amend it? Her excuse is gross. She should have amended it. She signed on to that accusation. She can't walk it back. She might be saying her personal opinion on the Facebook post because she wants to walk it back personally, but officially, she used her power to redefine the NAP. So let me, a bit harsh on that one Facebook post of hers. Again, I'll defend it in the show. I hope you'll catch it. You'll put in comments if you don't catch it live, because I really do want your feedback. But she was questioning it, which I think is pretty questionable. I think she's regretting that part of her vote. And she should just repudiate that part of her vote. And actually, if Susan had integrity, she should move to rescind. Listen, they could retry me on everything but the NAP. But if she's regretting that vote, she should move to rescind it. She won't, though, because she's not a woman of courage. I would. There's been times I have voted and regretted it and moved to rescind or amend. Okay? That was a terrible vote, but right now I maybe just wait till see what the JC does. It's clear words / slander is not violence or aggression. Absolutely agree with you. And I don't think she was making a good argument at all. But my problem with her post, Ryan, is more the hypocrisy. She could have been talking about anything. So there's 2 issues here. It's her argument, which is one issue. The second issue is her going after me. Because this was in a private channel. The LNC members absolutely agreed. LNC members do not go after regular members. Okay? Because and I'll say who it was because I did this publicly. I, in an email that he sent to the LNC, responded and just, I lit him up, and that was John Hudak. And I got in a lot of trouble for that because they said LNC members do, and then I posted on my social media post and called him a snake. And I got in huge trouble for that. And you want to know what? They were right. LNC members shouldn't really go after regular members. I think there are exceptions, but this wasn't one of those. I was wrong. So I swallowed my pride, and I personally wrote to John and apologized to him. I then wrote to the entire LNC and apologized to them. I then went on my page and apologized to all of my followers. Susan is going after a regular member, even if she's doing it by subtweeting. Richard at least had the balls to name me. But everyone knows who Susan is referring to. You either follow your own rules or you don't. Richard's was much more egregious because it had nothing to do with the vote at all. He just didn't like something I said on my YouTube channel. At least Susan's is somewhat relevant to the vote, which, you know, maybe she wants to explain her vote or whatever. So I'm going to be a lot less harsh on Susan as far as the post goes than I was on Richard. Richard was completely out of line, and he called me a liar, and I had the receipts to prove that I wasn't, but I'm not going to call him one. I'm going to say it happened 2 years ago and he's just misremembering, because that's the more charitable interpretation. Do you remember all your private, even though this was kind of a big event, whatever, I'm not going to call him a liar. I'm not going to do what he did to me. Liar's such a strong word. We use it way, way too often. Okay. Yeah, Ryan, I saw that you quoted Block in response. Emily, I'm really glad to see you being strong and persevering. I do want you to write the books. I will be. I had that really bad spell. And I want to discuss that too. I'm going to do probably a whole show on this. And again, this is about Susan. I'm sorry she did this. I'm not sorry. I am sorry, because if you think I enjoy calling out people, you're wrong. I don't. But I feel like I have a voice and I need to use it, because it helps people who don't have a voice. If you want to know my motivation. Susan completely has dragged me to whoever her followers are, using her position of power for my mental health. And she completely bullied me over it in private on the LNC list, to the point that I had to file a complaint against her. That is gross. You do not publicly mention other people's health issues, even if they're mentioning it, because it's not your story to tell. It's my story to tell. And you do not use it as a weapon, as Susan did. Susan, in her posts, had done far worse than anything I did. And if words are aggression, a much better argument can be made that she violated the NAP by her definition. I don't accept that definition. I would never accuse her of that. But I'm just saying, I'm applying her words to her. So why is, I think, dragging somebody's mental health like that so bad? Because there's still a lot of stigma against admitting you suffer from anxiety or depression or any other mental health issue. I've always been very outspoken about my struggles, because I was very, very stigmatized for depression when I was in the fundamentalist Christian religion. And I was just told I didn't have enough faith, you shouldn't take medicine, all of that. Okay, I was really, really damaged and very, very ashamed. My mother also suffered deeply from mental health issues and turned to alcohol. She had anxiety disorder and panic attacks, which I always get, and she lived in shame. I will not live in shame. It's very, very common, these things, and they can be handled. But I do think they need to come out in the open. So I'm very, very open about it, because I want to help other people not be ashamed. And I get private messages and all kinds of messages. I read a letter of that lady on the show that said, Via de Cristo changed my life, from the lady who changed her. I changed her whole life. She heard me being open about depression, and she got the courage to do it herself, and got the appropriate help, got the appropriate support, and she became a leader. Talk I was given was called Leaders, and how to transform yourself into a leader in your spheres of influence. So when I see somebody using somebody else's mental health as a weapon, what I'm envisioning is some up-and-coming new libertarian who might be getting on their local board, but they have struggles like I do. And they think, oh my God, do I really want to get in leadership in this party? Because if some people have disagreements with me, they're going to start, like, if, you know, spreading my mental health issues all over the internet. I don't want to deal with that. And when you're dealing with someone with anxiety, to then do something that would make them anxious is fucking cruel. And I said a much better argument can be made that that's a violation of the NAP. She had no reason to do that, and she's still doing it and acting like, oh, it's because I care. Fuck you. So I'll be getting into that more on my show. If I got suspended, Region 5 should be suspending Susan for what she did to me. But she earned her seat through a valid election, as I did. If Region 5 doesn't like her, they will vote someone else in at Reno. Okay. And Libertarian Revolution said John Phillips was rude to him. Should he be removed? By their standards. Has he apologized to you? He should. You're just a regular member. I publicly apologize to every single person that could possibly have seen I was wrong, my bad behavior on that. I should not have publicly dragged John Hudak. That was wrong of me. If there was a specific comment he made that I wanted to deal with, I could have. But I trashed him as a person, and that was wrong of me. So, John Phillips should apologize to you, Libertarian Revolution. They don't follow their own rules. So, what they are doing to me is classic gaslighting, and I've said it for a while. But I've got such a support circle around me, it doesn't work. But this LNC, I think, is going to go down as the worst, as absolute worst in the history of the party, and very, very abusive. And I think history is not going to be on their side in how they treated me. And I think they are going to be looked down very much for not knowing how to properly handle, A, mental health issues. Because when that first email came out, I told them what I was going through, and I got no response. What was the response? To try to remove me again. That's not what you do. They blew the whole thing. They blew on how do you handle somebody who's reporting an assault. Oh my God, the victim blaming and they blew that. And they blew how to deal with someone with autism. Yes, I will bring that up because it is an issue here, and I think history will bear me out. Okay, any other questions? The next show, I don't know if it's going to be the history one or the one on Susan. I've got other topics. I would like to not talk about the LNC anymore. If the LNC members would just follow their rules and not drag me on social media, I wouldn't have to do this. But Susan, I think you should regret that vote, and you should be moving to rescind because it was gross. And if you don't, I think the Radical Caucus should consider you as automatically resigned. Okay, Otto put up something here. I like watching psychological podcast. So he said, there's a good podcast called Disaffected that analyzes these manipulation tactics and personality types. I'll take a look at that. I watch a lot of YouTube channels that deal with, there's a lady who actually is a sociopath. Like, she's been diagnosed. And she has a show that talks about how she views the world and how you, I'm not saying anyone on the LP, by the way, is a sociopath. This is just kind of, like related because I like psychological stuff. And it's fascinating to hear her from her own perspective. Then there's this other psychologist who deals with how to deal with narcissists. I don't like diagnosing people, so I'm not going to say anyone there's a narcissist. It's just, it's interesting. Because one of the things that narcissists do is push your buttons to get a reaction. And when you get a reaction, they act all calm and like, wow, you're so histrionic. That is classic narcissism. And that is what Susan has been doing to me. But I am not a psychologist. I'm not going to diagnose anybody. You could just say that's the shoe fits. Leave it at that. Because that gaslighting thing, bad. Very, very bad. Other psychological shows I watch, I like watching ones that analyze current crime, like interviews. It's people who analyze body language, like look for signs of dishonesty. What's that called? I guess it's just body language reader. There's some really, really good shows on that. If you guys are ever interested in that, I could make a list and do a little show on it to tell you all these psychological shows that I watch that I think are super, super interesting and good. I really like the body language analyzing. Man, the way they picked apart, I'm like really fascinated with the Chris Watts case. He's the family murderer, like the family annihilator guy. He was in Colorado, so that's why I'm super, super interested. So haunted by that case. Oh my God, I'm so haunted by that case. If anyone here familiar with the Chris Watts case? Just curious. If you're not, you probably don't want to look into it. Because haunted. Absolutely haunted by what he did. Yeah, Otto's familiar with it. That guy. And he's trying to get out now. And how much involvement do you think the girlfriend had, Nicole Kessinger? I mean, oh my God. Like, absolutely haunted. And Shanann, oh my God, I wish I knew her. She seemed like such a cool lady to me. And she's getting dragged. You know, her reputation's getting trashed. She's dead, and her reputation's getting trashed. But how could this guy smother those two little girls? Oh, my God. And then put them in the oil thing. In that little hole. Did you see how big that little, I guess, that hole was that he shoved his little girls' bodies down? And then, you know, Bella said, Daddy, no. Oh, my God. Shouldn't have even brought that up. But there's a lot of body language shows on his behavior, which was suspicious. Suspicious as all hell. Otto, they did DNA testing, I believe. You guys correct me if I'm wrong on the because she was pregnant. Shanann was pregnant with Nico at the time of the murder. And I'm pretty sure they did DNA testing on the fetus. And it was Chris's son. And Bella, the older daughter, looks just like him. I don't ever think there was a question there. But how come they didn't, like, because he confessed, they didn't even question Nicole more? Like, I don't know. If she had no involvement, I feel real bad because her life will never be the same either, you know? But that is twisted. That is just such a twisted story. I mean, it's bad enough he killed his wife. But those two little girls will haunt me. All right, enough of that. Anything else? So I watch a lot of crime shit. I like Bailey Sarian, you know, all those crime shows. All right, guys. I could talk forever, as you know. I am going to, I'm going to start Twitch streaming, I think, for this kind of stuff, where people just want to hang out for hours and talk about whatever. I think Twitch streaming would be fun. YouTube's not really set up for that. So Daniel 3, Biblical Anarchy, subscribe, watch that show. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'm going to take off, and we'll see what kind of show I do next. It probably is going to be the historical one tomorrow, because the one with Susan's requiring some thought and research, because I want to be fair as I can. Obviously, I do have a lot of feels, and it's difficult, but I want to be fair. I did get a new patron a couple days ago. I have not yet updated the, for that one, my closing thing. Maybe I'll get another $5 patron tonight that I can update on there. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the company. And I can't thank you enough for the support. This circle of support that I have is unreal to me. The way strangers came together because they think my cause is just. I can't repay you. Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome night.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.